This is another edition of Special Talk, a bit different than the previous shows that we've had because we're going to be talking about the Penguin Plunge, which was a few weeks ago, and it was a very good turnout. Went fairly well. This is Scott McCullough, the host, and myself, Chris Vonderlippy, the producer of Special Talk. I think the Penguin Plunge went really well.
Oh yes.
I think a phenomenal event, and what we're actually going to do in this particular show, we're live here at Scott's house, is we're going to cut into segments of the Penguin Plunge. We're going to talk about how successful the event was, how much money was raised, and in general, who are some of the other teams that are coming together to be part of this in the past and this particular year, 2016, in the future as well. Were you happy with the event this year?
Oh, yes.
In comparison to other years? You
yes.
were.
Yeah. I'd like to say a special thanks to the town of Hampton, the Hampton Beach, the town of Hampton.
The event starts off, and everybody gets together. Nashua Special Olympics,
yes,
which Scott is part of, year-round Special Olympics. There, Alvern High School was there, Nashua North and South. There was a high school division, so you have high school plungers, then you have Special Olympics athletes,
yes,
and then you have a lot of news personas and people who are affiliated with WMUR. Mark Erickson is really, I would say, he's the master of ceremonies. He's been doing it for a long time. We've been covering it since 2012, so this is in the fourth year right now. And yeah, very, very successful event. Were you nervous? Were you scared doing it this year in comparison to last year?
This was my 5th year. My girlfriend Jennifer Lassay did it also, and she did it for her 4th year. She's going to be doing it next year. I'll definitely be doing it next year. And it was me, Kim McDonald, Chris O'Neill, Charles, Mark Thornton, and Jennifer Lassay.
There were a lot of sponsors that were New Hampshire based that were involved in putting this together, and WMUR was a big part of it, and Mark Erickson again, as I mentioned, was he's like the master of ceremonies. He gets the event started.
Oh yes.
When the plungers get on the line, they get on Hampton Beach, and you're going to see some of the footage in this show later on that shows different waves. Let's talk about the different waves.
Wave A was the first one to go out.
Right.
And it's cold, but it was very warm.
It was cold, warm. Wave A goes in. I'm a producer, but I was working as a camera operator, a different camera than this one. Plunge and Wave A. There were a lot of people, all ages, what have you, different costumes. It's a very festive event. You have people wearing these different costumes because there's a costume parade.
Oh yes.
So talk a little bit about the costume parade and how that fits into it.
I think that went amazing, as they said. I don't know who the winner was of that. They had Senator Kelly Ayotte do the plunge again. She said she was doing the Penguin Plunge, and I'd like to say a special thanks to Senator Kelly Ayotte for doing that, because she does Special Olympics events. I'm throwing out my challenge to any elected official, or now our elected officials.
Senator Kelly Ayotte has been very active in Special Olympics, on other events, the 5K road race, which we featured that there was an actual interview, and Senator Kelly Ayotte is very active, not only as a politician but an athlete, to raise awareness about Special Olympics, number one, from a political standpoint, and also to get involved and raise money. So it's a very important thing if you're serving as an elected official, government, teacher. Get out there, get involved. Can anybody get involved in the plunge? Can anybody,
Oh, yes.
anybody can do it?
You need to raise 350, and you call Bridget at the Special Olympics office, and she will get you right signed up, and you put it out on Facebook and say you're doing the Penguin Plunge. And there's two plunges. There's, next year I think there'll be a high school plunge, and the normal plunge is February 7th.
Right, they have the high school plunge, and then there's the regular plunge. So they have two different plunges. How many people total in Nashua Special Olympics again?
There was only 5 people that did the plunge.
Only 5 people. Why do you think that? Is it just because it's freezing cold in that time of year? People are nervous about it. Do you think people with the penguin plunge say, "Well, it's not really an athletic sport. You got to get used to the temperature, and it's extremely
yes.
cold." We're out there, as you're going to see in the footage, bare bathing suits.
That guy's butt cheeks are sticking out.
Right.
Costume.
Yeah, they have all different. The costumes were phenomenal. Captain Plunger. They have all different signs representing the United States. Now, you were not involved in the costume parade, correct?
No, because I told them, I said, you guys do it. I said, you guys do it. And they say, oh, we gave you beads already. Why don't you do it? I said, nah, I'll probably do the parade next year.
Is there anything, if you're going to do the parade going forward, is there any symbol that represents Special Olympics that like to dress up in a costume, or would you just say you wouldn't put that much thought into it, something you like, you just kind of randomly go with the flow?
Maybe I'll do it next year, depending on what the theme is. This year's theme was U.S.
U.S. There's a lot of really interesting patriotic themes. Phenomenal. For years, the Muchachos, I mean, they're doing all sorts of covers, what have you. And I wonder if I'd love to go online and see where else are they playing. They're playing at the Hampton Beach Casino here. You wonder if they're involved with other nonprofits or charity groups doing fundraisers. So
They were amazing, and my buddy Charles from Henniker is now the Special Olympics board member for our Olympics board of directors. I had to step down the year 2011 to 2014.
Right.
It was a good year for me, as I wasn't ashamed to have done a lot for that board. I gave a lot of input as a athlete representative.
now, what, as a board member or something like this, I'm asking you, because I produce the show, but I'm not really involved in planning the events or something like that. Now, for the Penguin Plunge, if they do the event in February, how many months in advance do they plan out?
Oh, they plan it right after every event. They'll jump right into it after January. They'll start getting the pages up and calling up all the sponsors. I know some of the sponsors were like McDonald's, OKQ.
Yeah, OKQ, and again, Mark Erickson, he's been doing that every year, right?
Oh, yes.
Mark Erickson is you'd call him the spokesman, the master of ceremonies. He does the opening for the Penguin Plunge. He's been doing it yearly, and then he introduces the waves. Again, we talked about the waves, which were really interesting. Wave A, Wave B. Was there another wave after that?
Nope.
Okay.
I think only 2 waves as far as I know.
Everybody just racing to do this great event, which is a fundraiser. It's meant to support Special Olympics year-round, what have you. Now, which wave were you in?
Wave A.
You were in Wave A.
First one out, first one back to the ballroom after changing.
Right. How were you dressed? I mean, did you?
I had my sweatpants on and going, hey, that's being a wuss. You should have got your bathing suit. You should have took off your sweats and go in with the bathing suit and get that soaked.
Now, have you gone in your bathing suit before?
Oh, yes.
some of the members of Nashua Special Olympics that participated.
Jennifer Lassay.
Jennifer Lassay, who is the co-host, girlfriend of Scott, who's been actively involved.
Oh, yes.
And she was pretty happy with the event, you think?
Oh, yes. She said that I think this was turned out to be a good, amazing event. There were so many sponsors.
It was amazing. There was Coca-Cola, McDonald's, and they all and the different high schools that were involved all raised a lot of money. I mean, it's Alvern, Nashua North, Nashua South. I mean, combined between like those three schools, it was over $40,000. So
I'd like to challenge any elected official like Annie Custer, anybody that's going to be getting elected in the near future in 2017.
okay,
To step up to the plate. Annie Custer, I'm calling you out.
right. I'll call out Kevin Avard. I'll call out Ken Gidge because we're talking about a local station, and why not? You support the station. These elected officials have their own programs on the station. Why not come out, support the Penguin Plunge? How many years have you been doing the Plunge?
This is my 50 year.
Did you decide the first year you did it, what you wanted to do the Plunge?
Because it raises a lot of money for Special Olympics New Hampshire.
All right, so March 31st, you check
Is a
out.
deadline.
Is a deadline. Check the page. You can see all the stats. You can see really how much people raised, their investment.
Vanessa Wavell. She did the Penguin Plunge also.
Vanessa Wavell, bowling and track and field and a lot of other things, and is helped out in an assistant coach capacity, and many times she was involved. I think the event for itself was great. Now, let's go over the list of some of the other Special Olympics teams that were involved. So you had Nashua Special Olympics, Londonderry, a lot of high school teams. Now the whole event, a 2-day event,
Oh, yes.
because you the high schoolers are on a separate day, correct?
Yes.
I wish that I had covered the high school Plunge to see their award ceremony. You're going to see some really great footage that shows the Plunge itself on the beach, and wave A, wave B, and then eventually you get to the award ceremony at the end event. And go on to the Special Olympics page, check out the Plunge, and see how different individuals and different people did in terms of money raised. Again, so how much did you raise roughly? Or
$490.
$490. Now, as a Special Olympics athlete, let's say you've never done the Plunge before. Is there any kind of strategy in terms of raising money that you'd recommend to somebody who's affiliated with Special Olympics, or let's say they're a first-time athlete? They just started Nashua Special Olympics this year, next year.
If you're a Twitter user, use Twitter, tweet it out, know your people. Like maybe go on like George Russell's show, George Russell, 1590 AM. I'd like to thank him. He was the one that helped me raise the money.
George Russell really got behind
yes.
you and helped you raise the money, and they have their own Facebook pages. Do you find that people will go out in a crowd and talk up the event? Sponsors will come that way, or does that not?
Hopefully. As like they say, if you've never been on radio, you should try to do it, ladies and gentlemen, because it is fun. George Russell is a good person who loves supporting Special Olympics out there. He'll have people come on probably next year during the big main event and talks to a lot of like the sponsors that helped me last time, like the National Police Department, the Fort and Gage Flower Shop, and maybe have somebody from the Holiday Inn, our Holiday Inn right down the road next year, and think about doing the Special Olympics Penguin Plunge with me.
Awesome, that's right. Scott, he works at the Holiday Inn, so he's throwing out a challenge for any of his co-workers. Would you throw out a challenge to Antonio and say?
Oh yes, if he wants to, because we've done we've done a lot of 5Ks too.
Yeah. So have you ever been nervous doing the plunge at all? Do you ever don't worry about a frostbite or anything like that, or freezing?
That's why they have EMTs standing by, making sure we stay nice and warm.
The intent is to get them people out of the water, and as far as I know, at least in the last 4 years, it doesn't look like there really have been any problems. They're pretty successful in getting people out.
Like they said, the WOKQ guy, Mark Erickson, wasn't kidding. He said, if you stay in the water, they will escort you out.
The idea is these outside businesses, like Coca-Cola, McDonald's, what have you, they're proactive in putting their money where their mouth is, no pun intended, involved in this event.
Yes, and I think it was an amazing event this year with so many plungers that we're hopefully going to do it next year. I know I'm going to do it next year.
Yes. The Penguin Plunge is a fundraiser for Special Olympics for locations, any rooms that they need to get, hotels, for year-round Special Olympics, which you've seen on our show, Special Talk, which you really need to check out. Go on YouTube, check it on my website, www.onthewaterproductioncompany.com. You can go on Scott McCullough's page, and you can see the commitment that we've had to Special Olympics and just how great this organization is. And anybody can get involved, volunteer, find out what's going on, cancer screenings and dental work and things like that. It is Special Olympics in sports, but it's also tied into other programs as well. Mark Thornton was involved. Did he plunge this year? Or?
Yes, he did. He
did plunge this year, and he's the father of Parker Thornton, and he was really taking things by the reins. And again, you said Jennifer Lassay, who's the co-host, who's not here, sitting here right now, but she was very happy with the event.
Oh yeah, she looked around and we're going, wow. I'm going to try to see if they need a co-captain next year. I'd like to co-captain and be a plunger, because if they don't have anybody stepping up next year, I don't know why they don't have anybody stepping up. If the Nashua Special Olympics wants me to, I will step up next year. I will be co-captain and a plunger at the same time.
Okay, so I understand if you want to be a plunger, you raise a certain amount of money, or you're able to get sponsors, and you're talking about going on George Russell's show or being an advocate, and there are all different types of ways to raise money, which is great. But when you say you want to be a co-captain in addition to that, what do you mean by that? What do you need to...
Co-captain needs to show up at the plunge, make sure we get the waves, like if they want to say, hey, do you guys want to do the parade, yes or no? She checks us in, whoever the co-captain will be.
I don't know what the exact number was in terms of overall money that was raised for the overall event, but it was over $900,000
yes.
for the whole event. So you have teams Nashua North, Nashua South, you have the Nashua Special Olympics, you have all different teams from Hudson and Bedford, Merrimack, all coming together, and it's hard. It's a challenge to raise money. In the 5 years that you've been doing it, what is this particular year, what was the most exciting thing about it? Was there one particular component of the whole event?
I'd say the music and the entertainment and all the music.
Muchachos, and it's that band. They've been doing it. They're covering 80s cover bands. You should go online and check it out. And I certainly am, to see what other events are they involved in. You know.
Oh yes, from Papagino's.
Papagino's was a sponsor. D'Angelo's was a sponsor.
Coca-Cola Company.
Coca-Cola Company, and these people they not only donating food, but they raised quite a bit of money.
Oh yes, and the WOKQ morning waking crew with
Mark Erickson, WOKQ,
his partner.
Malvern High School, $24,270. That's a lot of money for the high school. And again, that was the event that was the day before. Then you had Nashua High School South, $16,023. That's a lot of money. So
Yes.
the high schoolers, they must start planning months in advance. If it's January, they're going back last year, right?
And if they would like somebody to come in, talk about Special Olympics and the Special Olympics Penguin Plunge, or the normal plunge, hey, I'm willing to come to your school, talk about the Special Olympics Penguin Plunge. They need a lot of guest speakers that I could do it, Chris O'Neill could do it, Charles could do it. They're all Global Messengers. I'm a Global Messenger. You can look our names up on Facebook.
Let's look at a little bit about what was raised. You said $490 was raised for Scott McCullough.
Yes.
Jennifer Lassay, $810.
Yes.
She must have been really very happy with that.
Oh yes, she said she got gift cards to the Papadino's / D'Angelo's.
Right.
They were a sponsor, I guess, this year instead of Applebee's, but I don't mind Papadino's / D'Angelo's.
Papadino's, D'Angelo's, Coca-Cola, you want to have a broad spectrum of different sponsors. Mark Thornton, $2,130. So you're really stepping up, and it seems that
yes.
a lot of the coaches really go that extra mile to raise a little bit more money. Chris O'Neill, $2,246. That's a lot. What did it take for you to become a global messenger?
Had to go through the training. I went through all the levels, and I'm one, if they need me, they can call, and I would be right there.
Okay. What are the different levels that you had to go through? Just give me an idea.
Beginner. I've done a lot of speeches. I've done like a lot to the state police, and hopefully they will. I know I talked to a state trooper, and I'd like to throw out the challenge to the state police with any guys that are not on duty next year. Please come to Hampton Beach and do the Special Olympics Penguin Plunge, and throw out my challenge to Troop A and Troop B of Milford.
Troop A and Troop B of Milford. Why in particular that troop of Milford? Have you worked with them before, or?
No, they're keep our highways and byways safe.
We're going to go out to the water. We're going to show you the Penguin Plunge. Fantastic event. Wave A, and you're going to see Wave A and Wave B. Fantastic event. Wave A, and you're going to see Wave A and Wave B.
Watch out for that 2-foot drop! Right at the water's edge. Don't get tripped up. You're doing a wonderful thing here today for Special Olympics New Hampshire. It is appreciated. The 17th annual Penguin Plunge. Our theme this year, USA. Everybody exit to the right. Everybody into the water. This is Wave B. Wave B with the green wristbands. Into the water, please. Watch out for that 2-foot drop right after the water's edge. Watch out for the 2-foot drop. Watch out for each